Sentinel rose to popularity in the 2000s with his appearance in animated, then making his big appearance in Dark of the Moon. I mean, there were other like rumblings of Sentinel Prime before that, but to me, his most impactful appearance was animated and then Dark of the Moon. He's had a fair amount of toys too. Most of those toys, in fact, are pretty good too. The animated Sentinel is really fun. The Leader Sentinel is awesome. Cyberverse Commander Sentinel is nifty. Studio Series is pretty good for what it is. Titan's Return even it's not bad, but this one isn't. So this is the Dark of the Moon Voyager, and oh boy, is it weird. The truck mode looks pretty good, ignoring the cannon for a sec, but that's because it's pretty much just 3 shell panels wrapped around a robot. I do like the amount of paint all throughout the truck. They added a fair bit, and that helps elevate the alt mode more, but that cannon. So mech tech was a thing back in Dark of the Moon, and I'm glad this one has like a legit place to store, but it looks horrible. It's supposed to be his fire hose, but it's just a folded up cannon on top, but it does have a few points of articulation so it can swing around. That is if it could actually like hold the weight of the weapon. Pressing the button down on the top flips out like the front of it, and turning the button will lock it into place, giving you this like t-shirt cannon thing. The weapon itself is really cool. It just looks extremely out of place on the toy. You also have like these little flap things that fold out on the sides, which, okay, cool. I think they're supposed to be like Stealth Force stuff, because Stealth Force was also a thing in Dark of the Moon, but I don't know. The alt mode though is it's the best part of the toy, because the transformation is very dinky. It's legit just unfold the back and the robot is already pretty much complete in there. At least with shell formers like Age of Extinction Prime, it's a bit more of a conversion on the actual robot and the shell. This one is just mostly shell, making the transformation pretty uninteresting and bland. And after that lackluster conversion, you end up with a robot that looks so funky. Its proportions are off, and the paintwork, especially on the chest, makes it look kind of knockoffy. Like, it's not a knockoff, but it looks like a knockoff. Just the way that the paint's applied to the chest and that chest panel in general. The head sculpt really kills this figure for me. It's so squished and featureless. He looks like Yoda trying to look like a transformer, and he has clear light piping for some reason. I never understood the clear light piping. Why wouldn't you just do a colored, like, clear? I guess if you're gang molding it with clear plastic that is see-through like that, you're not going to do colored light piping. I don't know. It's a strange choice. He looks like someone wearing his pants up way too high, causing his socks to show. Like, the torso is very squat and the legs are extremely long. The leader suffers from that too, but at least the leader uses the vehicle panels better to come up with a more interesting looking robot. This just looks so bland. Now on to the worst part. Yeah, there's a worst part. The back. So this is the entire truck, and again, at least toys like Age of Extinction Prime hide most of the vehicle in the legs and stuff, like they separate where the vehicle chunks go. This is all just on the back. And I would be very much okay with it if it didn't stick out so far. Like, it tabs in like this. It makes the toy pretty back heavy, and overall, just the experience of messing with the damn thing is not pleasant. I know that whole cape thing is hard to do on Sentinel. Like, the knockoff that I have had to actually have you remove the backpack and put a separate piece on to solve that issue. But they could have done a whole, like, hinge and split thing at the back like the leader did, making it look a little nicer. Or compress the backpack even more. Like, the kibble doesn't even get in the way of the arm articulation because the flaps move out, so compressing it onto the back wouldn't have caused any like mobility issues. You would have still been fine. Speaking of articulation, it's very basic. No wrist swivels, no ankle joints, no waist joint. It's very underwhelming the amount of different poses you can get him in, because he never looks dynamic in any of them. And Sentinel in the movie was a very agile and nimble character, and the toy can't even do any of that. He also can't hold his gun up very well, and the peg on the bottom of the gun feels too short because it can sometimes just get knocked out of the hand. But like, it's not good. The toy suffers a lot from weird design issues that make it not very fun to mess with, to transform, to pose, or to even look at. It's extremely bland, but it's like the cheapest Sentinel from the movies to buy out there of all the Voyagers and Leaders, because like the Cyberverse Commander is probably much cheaper. I only got this because at the time it was like the only Sentinel I could get, but even then I regretted it, and I still do. Like, in a pinch, if you need a Sentinel, then it's an okay pickup, I guess. But otherwise, I would say just try to find the Studio Series one for a decent price, or just get the Leader. I paid like $50 for my Leader figure today, which is the retail price of that Leader back when it came out. So you can find the Leader for a decent price, and this Voyager usually goes for about $40, which I don't think is worth it in the slightest. So honestly, I'd just say get the leader. The Studio Series 1 is like $100+, and because scalpers, they can go and bang their heads against the wall for all I care. But it's so hard to get the Studio Series. I did find the Studio Series 1 on Buy for $30, but that I didn't know if I wanted to trust that or not, so I just didn't. But I would say definitely skip this Sentinel. It's not great. It doesn't really have a place in a lot of people's collections, from what I've been told, because it's just so dumb looking. It goes in a box, like mine goes in a box. It doesn't go on the shelf. So I'd say avoid this one. But that's been my look at Voyager class Dark of the Moon Sentinel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.